It helps the speaker lead his audience into the scene he described by creating an imaginary picture. Usually, it's something that moves.
And I will start this video giving some tips of one of the best tools I learned in my life. And I wish I learned that much before. And the tool is simple. It's meditation. You probably hear a lot about meditation already. I'm not a guru. I'm not an expert. I just learned how to quiet my mind and how to control it a little bit better. I'm very beginner, but that's why I want to give some tips for beginners. Like when I was in New Zealand for the first time, I met a monk in the airplane. Actually didn't talk to him in the airplane. I just saw him in the airplane and he caught my attention, and it was a very hard time in my life. I didn't have money. I didn't know what to do. I was heartbroken, painful. I was alone and going to a place that I'd never been before. And I was in deep pain because I didn't really know how to control it, something that was not on my control. And it was my heart, it was my mind. And without controlling your heart and your mind, you actually have no control over anything else. Like for me, I couldn't work properly, I couldn't think properly, I couldn't exercise or think about anything else. And doesn't matter how much I try, that always went out in my mind. So after the fly, I went to get my bags like everybody else, and I saw this monk. He was a very old man, very kindly, and I offered him to help with his bags. And after a little chat, he thanked me and gave me his card and invited me to go to his temple. And actually, that was all I need. In 2 days after, I went to his temple and I asked them if I could stay there to learn meditation, because I'm always interested to learn different things, and everyone knows me that I'm interested in religion everywhere I go. So somehow they just opened the doors for me. They give me a place to sleep in a little classroom that they had near the temple. And long story short, I actually stayed there for 3 months, just me and the monks. The routine of the temple was pretty straight. We have to wake up about 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning, do the meditation, prepare the breakfast for the monks, offer them the breakfast, organize everything for 12 o'clock, where they have their lunch, and after that they didn't eat anymore. And I was doing the same. I was doing meditation with them in the morning, almost by ourselves. Then we do the meditation with everybody that come from the community, Thai community there. Amazing people that I call today family. And I wish I see them again. I visit there once after that, and I definitely will visit more times. And After the 12 o'clock lunch, we actually just do some cleaning around the temple and organize ourselves for the meditation at night. And that routine in that time was a perfect thing for me. Was definitely what I need to straighten my mind and put myself together. I read the Dharma, then is the Words of Buddha. It's not very long. I recommend you to read. And I was starting to teaching, because I was an English teacher, I was trying to teach a monk, then becomes one of my best friends over there. And the 3 months I stayed there, I remember I started meditation, was very hard just to sit properly. And was the idea of like having gaps between my thoughts and focusing these gaps and just focusing my breath was so hard because my body actually was not comfortable at all with that position and for too long. And that was not that long actually. It was just that I was not used to the position. So that's the tips I want to give you for the beginners. Like first, I think when you start doing meditation and you're not used to sitting position, is to get as comfortable as you can with the sitting position. It's like a gym. More you practice, more your body gets adjusted to the position, more your muscle get adjusted to the position. I stretch my body all the time. You're gonna see the video next time I'm gonna put it in. I do kind of stretching and I try to get as clean and as adjusted as I can and as comfortable as I can so I can focus just in my breath and in my thoughts. And actually, we don't focus, in the beginning they tell you just to focus in your breath, but you don't focus in anything else. The whole trick is to detach from your thoughts, is to see your thoughts just pass into you and don't attach to them. Your thoughts are not as you wish your own thoughts. Your mind is much more like a radio, and we tune in the vibe that we connect to. So once we train our mind to turn it off and just watch that thoughts passing by, you can do that with other things, like my heart, for example, like my feelings, for example. You can go beyond that. But then you use it as much as you need. Okay, and that once you learn to detach from your thoughts, and you can choose what thoughts you want or what thoughts you don't want, and you have control over that, you start having control around everything in your life. I remember when the monk asked me in the first day I arrived there, he said, "Can you control your mind?" And I say, "Yes, of course I can control my mind, And he was like, "Can you stop your mind or thinking?" And then I fought and I fought and I fought and I fought and I say, "I think I can't." And then he said, "Well, if you cannot stop your mind thinking, it's because you don't control your mind. Everything that we want, everything that we like, everything that we do goes through our mind first, goes through our thoughts. And if you're not under control in that, you're not under control in anything else. That's probably why marketing and psychology are so tricky sometimes, because they can actually control you with some tricks and read you with some tricks, because you're not under control. They use colors, they use noise, they use music, they use anything can vibrate with your feelings and thoughts to control your desires, to control your wishes. And that shows how easy we are to control. Of course, more educated you are, you think you are more under control, because you can have more choices, because you have more money, because this or that. But in reality, you just like everybody else if you don't control your thoughts. And the tips I want to give you is to try to focus in your breath. You sit down and you just inhale 1, 2, 3 times and watch your breath. Focus just in your breath. The idea actually is just to focus in just one thing, so you can detach from others, and from there you go on. In the temple, I remember I used to focus a lot in the birds that was around. I love nature, so I used to focus on the birds singing. In the waterfall that I'm gonna show you here, I usually focus in the sound of the waterfall around. And then from there, I detach and I go away. I cannot hold that for too long, because I say like the body and the mind is still under control some things. But I have this glimpse, and I have these breakings of between the thoughts, and more it gets easier and easier to do that. I don't practice every day. I don't practice like I do the gym. Maybe I should, but that really helps me, still helping me a lot. And this New Year's, for example, I did a meditation that was the longest I ever done here. And you will see with time when you do it, time actually becomes different. You don't feel the time pass. You just flow through the time. And in this New Year's, I did a meditation that was almost 3 hours. And when the New Year's started, I was like, wow, I cannot believe it. It is already New Year's. And my goal was to start this New Year's with something different. Every New Year time, New Year's Eve time, I try to do something different, so I project something different in my life, something different for my New Year. And this year, because I was here in Rishikesh, then this is a very, very special place. I didn't want to lose that moment of the year doing parties, drinking, whatever people usually do. I want to use that as much as I could, connected to spirituality, connected to myself, and I decided to use the meditation for that. And the result of that was actually amazing. So the tips I have to give you is just to focus in your breath. That's the basic tip everyone gives you when you start meditation. So I used to give 3 deep breaths and just pay attention to how I breathe. And the idea I think of that was just to focus in one thing that you could control, and after that let it go. Because the idea actually is not focus in anything. But in the beginning, if you can focus on just one thing at a time, and from that you can let it go. I remember they told me, like, more you think about not thinking, more you think. And the gaps between the thoughts that we thought was impossible, it actually is not. And you start having a little glimpse with time of practice, and from that you go on. Today, I would say that's not a problem for me anymore, to have these gaps, to control this stopping. But sometimes you get really addicted to that. You know, you learn to do walking meditation. You learn to meditate in bus, and you learn to meditate traveling. You learn to meditate everywhere, and you actually can be here doing this video and detach at the same time and come back. So you go with time farther and farther and farther. And because that's one of the best tools I learned in my life to control everything else, I want to give you this tip, and I want to leave you this video that I will leave now from one of my meditations that I used to do almost every morning when I was in Hobbit Hostel. This waterfall that I'm showing right now is going to be about 40 minutes video. It's just for you to try your practice with the water noise, the white noise. In that meditation, I remember I had some glimpse. The whole time I was not in meditation. I was more controlling my body and relaxing. And I had some short times of meditation. Then I could really detach. Once I get in the right position, once I get in the right moment, I can really go. But that doesn't last too long for me. That's why I say I'm not a professional. That just lasts some minutes, maximum maybe half an hour, but not more than that. But because it's New Year's, I think it's a good time to start practicing something new. And if you can, go to a temple near where you are, or go to a place, then give you some routine in the beginning to start. If you cannot do the routine by yourself, I would definitely recommend you to do that. Like I say, it was one of the tools that I really, really wish I learned it before in my life. I wish they teach that in school, for example. It would be amazing if we'll have meditation classes in the school and we learn how to control our minds and the whole body, actually, the whole life. So, Happy New Year to everyone. I wish this video is somehow helpful, and I believe for you to get this practice, the best is to set a routine, just to teach your brain then you're going to have these stops. And once you get this routine, you can actually do it anytime and when anywhere. But to have one place and one time to do every day creates in your brain that command, that click. Then okay, now you're gonna stop. Now I'm gonna stop you, you know. And from that you can do everywhere. But in the beginning, routine is very, very important. So go for it. Try as much as you can. If you need any more ideas or want to talk more about that, please write me down. Like I say, I'm not an expert, but I've been through a process that was very hard to get where I am right now. So I think I can help you out if you are in the same process. And let's do it. Let's go. Happy New Year, everyone. What I'm talking about here is what I learned in a Thai Buddhist temple. So this is a meditation then you actually stop thinking and you control the thoughts like that. You control your mind like that. Here in India, as I learned, the kind of meditation they do is to think in something. For example, you think in something higher frequency, you think in Shiva, you think in Ganesha, you think in some divine entity, then you wish, to connect. So I think meditation can be in many different ways, and you can actually, is the power of focus sometimes. Then you just can focus on something and hold that focus for a while and grab that for you, like the thoughts. Then you can just watch it and grab it, what you want or what you not want, you detach from it. In the meditation, I think when you're thinking Shiva, for example, and you connect and you have his image and you have the mantras, you actually go to this high frequency and you connect with that frequency for you. So that's another kind of meditation. And I believe there are other kinds of meditation too. So the one that I'm talking about here is the Thai Buddhist meditation. And from that, if you learn that, I believe you can do any other meditation very, very easy. Another thing I want to say is like a big, big, big hug and lots of kisses to all the Thai Buddhist community in Auckland. I love you guys. I really had an amazing time there, and it was life-changing for me just to be near you and receive all your love, all your care, and to see 10 beautiful people like that exist really makes me light up again. Thank you very much for everything you gave me, and I wish I can return a little bit more and see you again as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Tassa, Bhagavato, Arahato, Sama Sambuddhassa. Thank you, all the community. Thank you, monks. Thank you, Dharma. Thank you, Buddha. Sawadee Krap, everybody. Much love.